Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are delighted to have our Director of Project Teams, Gino Pack, joining us. Gino will be presenting on all about Business Central SaaS, updates and environment notifications. And as a reminder, we are recording this webinar and we will post it to our on-demand webinar library for you to review again or share with anyone. And you can find our library under our resources tab on our website at inovia.com. And we do encourage you to ask questions during our presentation, so please feel free to type them in the questions box and we will answer them at the end of our session. So now I'm going to turn it over to Gino to kick off our presentation.
Thank you very much, Angie. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today. Today, as Angie mentioned, I'll be talking about Business Central SaaS updates and environment notifications. Just so a heads up, this will be primarily about Business Central SaaS, not the on-premise version of Business Central. So we'll be focused on digging into the back end, looking at the admin side of Business Central instead of being in the client, talking about the functional areas. I am the Director of Project Teams here at Inovia Consulting. I've been at Inovia for about 3.5 years now. Prior to being at Inovia, I worked at an eyewear manufacturing and distribution company that used NAV. And so I've been using NAV for about 13 years now. And about 3 years ago, as I mentioned, jumped over to the partner side and worked with many organizations that are implementing or upgrading NAV and Business Central. So I'm going to try my best to use Business Central throughout this presentation, but I apologize in advance if NAV slips out of my mouth because I've been doing this for a while. So I've got 10 years of saying the word NAV, and now I have to learn to spell Business Central. So, but I look forward to speaking to everybody today. So today's agenda. So today we're going to take a look at different types of SaaS updates for Business Central. We're going to talk about Microsoft's upgrade lifecycle because those of us who have been in the NAV space for a very long time, the upgrade lifecycle is very different now. Now that Microsoft is moving to a cloud priority platform. We're going to learn how to manage your Business Central upgrades. So one of the biggest concerns that I hear from administrators is, what control do I have over my upgrades still? Are my upgrades fully under Microsoft's control, or can I have some flexibility on when my system upgrades? And then we are going to look at the Business Central upgrade notifications and how you as an administrator can be notified of when upgrades are going to take place in your SaaS environment. So let's jump into the types of updates and the Microsoft lifecycle. So because it's a cloud environment, because it's a cloud-first environment, upgrades are going to happen. There is no way around it. Your environment is going to be upgraded. But the more you know about when your environment's upgraded and how you can better prepare for them, your upgrades will run a lot smoother than in an on-premise environment. And the best part is you always have the latest feature set available to you and the latest bug fixes in the system. So let's jump in and talk about the types of updates and the life cycle that Microsoft pushes for these updates. The first type of update that Microsoft provides are called major updates. And major updates are feature-based system enhancements for the Business Central product, okay? And Microsoft releases the updates in 2 waves. So they release a wave 1 and a wave 2, and typically those releases happen in the springtime and in the fall. So twice a year, you're gonna get major updates to your Business Central environment. Microsoft does provide release notes for those updates 90 days prior to them rolling out. And you can access those release notes from a Microsoft link at the bottom left corner of my screen, aka.ms/WAC Business App Release Notes. It will take you to the Dynamics 365 and Power Platform release page, as you can see from my screenshot here. And you can read the release notes that are coming out with the next major version of all the Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Power Platform products, and that includes Business Central. About 30 days before Microsoft actually does the full release of that particular major update, you can create a sandbox in your administration environment to be able to play with the new features prior to them rolling out. So those are Microsoft's major updates. When looking at the major update lifecycle, Microsoft gives an upgrade window for you to be able to schedule and manage your updates. Okay, so if we take a look at the release wave 1 and release wave 2, Microsoft, as I mentioned before, gives a 30-day preview of that major update. Once the update is available, it's available for new customers for 1 to 2 weeks prior to them upgrading actual current customers' environments. And then after that, you have the ability to schedule your update for up to 60 days. After 60 days, Microsoft is going to push the update to your environment whether you're ready or not. So Microsoft does give you some leeway to be able to schedule the update around your business within a 60-day window. So in this case, when looking at this, Microsoft releases its major update for release wave 1 on April 1st. A week later, the updates start, so Microsoft starts sending out notifications that an upgrade is available for your environment. And then 60 days later, on June 1st, Microsoft will stop allowing you to schedule the update and will force your environment to be updated. That way, everyone is on the latest version of Business Central. It just allows them to manage their environments a lot easier and a lot cleaner. To see this upgrade lifecycle and see at least some more documentation on it, Microsoft does have a URL, bottom right-hand corner of my screen, aka.ms/BC major updates. And that's where you can see more details on how Microsoft rolls out major updates to Business Central SaaS. And I do want to mention that if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to type them in the chat. We'll take a look at them towards the end of the presentation and make sure I get everything answered for you. The next type of update that Microsoft provides in their environments are minor updates. A lot of us in the space, you heard the term cumulative updates before. That's basically what minor updates are. Microsoft releases these updates the second week of every month. Just like the major updates, Microsoft will release it, wait about 1 to 2 weeks, and then start rolling it out to the existing tenants. So they'll leave it out there for new environments starting that first week, and then the second week they'll start rolling it out as an update. And what the minor updates or cumulative updates provide are minor system enhancements as well as system hot fixes. So Microsoft is always working on resolving bugs and resolving issues in their system, and those are delivered via the cumulative updates instead of having to wait all the way to the major releases in order to give to have a more proactive approach to fixing issues in the system. And then there's also sometimes minor enhancements that they provide as well. Sometimes Microsoft will withhold a feature that was coming with the major release and provide it as part of a minor update. And typically minor updates do not include breaking changes. Okay, so these updates are meant to fix core Microsoft functionality. They're not meant to mess with any major functionality that will require refactoring to customizations or anything like that. For the minor update lifecycle, it's a lot shorter. Okay, Microsoft gives you 30 days to upgrade your environment when it comes to the minor updates. So the update is usually available the first or the second week of every month. Okay. And then Microsoft will start rolling out those updates a week later, okay? And Microsoft will automatically start rolling them out between week 2 and week 4 of every month. And within that period, you have the ability to schedule the update. Otherwise, Microsoft will just start updating the environments according to an update window that you set. And I'll go over all that here in a little bit. But to see what's available on Microsoft's minor updates, you can go to aka.ms/BC last minor update, and it will provide the latest updates that that are part of the rollout of a minor update. And the last type of updates are critical updates. These are updates that Microsoft will push out on an ad hoc basis, and they are typically not, you are not notified as an administrator or a user when these updates are being rolled out. And what these are critical updates to the system and application, and that cannot wait till a minor release to be released. When Microsoft moved from Nav to Business Central, they restructured their application to be separate from customizations that are written, that we may write to customize Business Central to our unique business processes. And by doing that, they have segmented their entire system into a single app called the base application and the system application, okay? So this gives Microsoft the ability to go in and provide critical updates to their environment in the event that they need to release something quickly without having to involve us as partners or end users to provide these critical updates for system down or system breakage type of scenarios. These are not updates that would typically cause any harm or break anything in the system. They are more to provide a quick update or hot fix to a critical issue that was found in the SaaS environment. And those are not typically, like I said, you don't get notified. There is no rollout plan. Microsoft, there really is no life cycle. Microsoft will release those as needed, okay? And you can, as an administrator, take a look at your environments to see what app updates are available. And as you can see in the screenshot that I provided here, you'll see that there are a bunch of applications in this environment with the publisher Microsoft, okay? These are all Microsoft managed applications, and they typically get updated on a monthly basis with minor updates. But as you can see here, there are also hotfix versions of this update. So if you take a look at this base application here, which houses all of Microsoft's core functionality for the Business Central system, we're on version 20.4, which means that we're on version 20 of the application, cumulative update number 4. But then there are also hotfix versions after that that will allow you to, that Microsoft does take advantage of releasing hotfixes as needed to all of the environments, okay? And typically when you're on the environments Manage Apps page in the Business Central Admin Center, you would be able to see if Microsoft was releasing a hotfix here, because then they would go ahead and update it overnight. And I'll show you that here in a second when we move into a demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you into the Business Central admin environment to show you how you as a Business Central administrator or an IT administrator can manage your Business Central SaaS updates. So let's pop over to my Business Central demo environment here. I'm in my Business Central demo environment, and on the main screen of my Business Central demo environment, I can see all of my Business Central environments, okay? I have a production environment, and then I have 3 sandboxes, okay? As you can see here, if I look at the current version, I have 3 of my environments are in version 20, 1 is on version 21. That's because right now Microsoft is about to release their next major version on October 1st, their 2022 Wave 2 release. So because I'm 30 days prior, I can take advantage of creating a sandbox on the next version of Business Central to be able to test out all the new features. Next, I can take a look at each of my environments and manage when I want them to be updated as well, okay? So if I go ahead and select my production environment here, you'll see at the very bottom of the screen, there is a version management functionality here. It'll tell me what my application and platform version is. It'll tell me whether there are available updates for my environment, and then I can set my update window. So if there are critical hours that my business is operating where I don't want Microsoft to to update my environment, I can simply select modify, put in my start and end time of the window that I want Microsoft to set an update for. So in this case, I'd like them to update my environment anytime between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. I can even change that to, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Okay. And what I can do, and then once I'm done with that, I will go ahead and hit save, and my update window will be set. Okay. Microsoft tries its best to respect those windows. So whenever an update is coming out, usually within those windows is when Microsoft will push out that update. In my production environment, I can also manage my applications that are installed in my environment. If I select the manage apps up in the top ribbon of the Business Central Admin Center, I can see all of my Business Central apps that are installed in my environment. This includes extensions by third-party providers and all of my Microsoft applications. If there is an update for my environment or for an application in my environment, I can see the latest available version here. Okay. If any of my Microsoft applications have another version noted, that indicates that Microsoft is releasing a hot fix for this environment and will be applied automatically, usually that evening, within your respected upgrade times. I'm going to pop back over to my environments here. And I believe that is it here. I'll pop over into my ISV test environment, and I can show you here what the latest version available looks like. So as I scroll through, I see all my applications here, but as you can see, my enhanced forecasting worksheet extension, my enhanced planning pack extension, third-party applications all have available updates to them. And I can install updates for my environment, or I can hold off until the next major release where they'll be updated automatically. But I can even, if I go ahead and take a look at like the action required here, I can install the update if I want to. But if I see the action required, I can go ahead and select it. What it's going to do is it's going to tell me that there are a bunch of other applications that require them to be updated in order for this particular application to update. And what I can do is I can update my entire environment just by the click of a button. Now, as a forewarning, one thing that you need to be aware of is that any updates that you do from the Business Central Admin Center will affect your users. Okay, so make sure that you're doing it at an appropriate time or within the upgrade window that you had set in the environment management page. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pop back over to my Innovia Consulting PowerPoint here, and we're going to jump into talking about upgrade and update notifications. There are typically 5 types of notifications that Microsoft will send out during a major, minor, or ad hoc update. This is a brief little table here that explains the type of message that you'll get, email message that you'll get, or your message you'll get, because you'll get it a couple of different ways, and then how it's related to a particular update. So for instance, I'm going to take a look at my extension compile warning, okay? With every major update, Microsoft will send out a notification to you indicating that there's an extension that's not written by Microsoft that does not compile with the next major version of Business Central. So it's your responsibility then to work with your partner to make sure that those updates are put in place prior to the major update taking place, otherwise the update will fail. Microsoft does not send out those compile warnings with minor or ad hoc updates. Microsoft will send out a notification when an update is available. They'll do it for both the major and the minor updates, but they typically do not send out notifications when an ad hoc update is available. When an update is scheduled, so if you go ahead and schedule an update, you can do it via a major and a minor update, but you typically don't get a notification when you schedule an update for an ad hoc extension or ad hoc Microsoft hotfix update. You'll get a notification when an update, if the update is successful for both major and minor updates. You'll also get an update message if the update has failed for both a major and a minor update. So typically the only ones that you don't get notified by Microsoft are via our ad hoc updates, because they're minor hot fixes that Microsoft is pushing out, and they usually push them out faster than the notifications can get out. So the notifications change a little bit. So how do you get notified? There's typically 3 different ways that you can get notified of a Microsoft update. The first one is via the Business Central Admin Center, which is the current method of getting notified in regards to Business Central updates. There's a functionality called notification recipients, where you put in as many email addresses as you need to get notified of Business Central updates. But please note that this is being phased out with the next release that's coming out on October 1st. Microsoft will now be moving its notification functionality into the Microsoft 365, into the Microsoft 365 messaging center, okay? So as a Business Central administrator, you are going to have to make sure you have access to the Microsoft 365 message center, so you can set up the proper notifications for your SaaS updates. And then also you can also get updates via a functionality called Application Insights. Microsoft emits telemetry out of the Business Central system into the Applications Insights application. And you can learn more about that via aka.ms/BC telemetry. We don't have enough time on this webinar to go into Application Insights. It's kind of a beast of its own, but you can actually set up notifications in Application Insights as well, and have it feed into your various ticketing systems and whatnot, so you can better handle them based on your IT infrastructure and your IT notification workflow. Let's go ahead, we're gonna jump right back into a demo of setting up your upgrade in Business Central notifications. So I'm back on my Business Central Admin Center. So the first method I'm gonna show you is the current and the decommissioning method that you can set up your notifications, but it is still active until October when Microsoft starts upgrading users to the 2022 Wave 2 release. You'll notice at the very bottom of the screen here, there is a coming soon message. Microsoft is going to be putting a window down here that will show you any messages in regards to Business Central updates, outages, etc. will all be notified in a panel that will be part of the Business Central Admin Center. But for now, if you want to get notifications on your environment, you can select the notification recipients along the side pane of the Admin Center. And to add a new notification recipient, it's fairly simple. You go ahead and select Add Recipient. You type the name, and then you can type the email address of the recipient, and select Save, and then you'll be notified once the Business Central environment sends out notifications. Now let's take a second to look at the new method in which Microsoft is going to be sending out notifications about your Business Central environment. That is being done via the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. If I pop over to the Admin Center here, looks a little bit differently. Along the left-hand side of the screen, Microsoft has their health, their tenant health section. Here I can take a look at items like Service Health. If I scroll, I can see that Business Central is now part of the Microsoft Service Health functionality. So you'll be able to see whether there's an incident or an advisory for your Business Central tenant. You can see issue and reported issues for your Microsoft 365 services, as well as Business Central over the last 30 days. And then if I pop down to the Message Center underneath my Microsoft 365 Health, this is where I can then set up notifications for my Business Central updates. Currently, Microsoft sends all of its notifications for all of its Microsoft 365 products through this messaging center, okay? So when wanting to set it up for Business Central, it's fairly simple. If I go ahead and select my preferences option, I can see all of the services that are hosted by Microsoft. And all I need to do is I need to go through this list and select the services that I take advantage of in my business environment. It could be Power BI, Microsoft 365 Power Apps, Windows, Universal Print. Business Central is part of this, so I'll always make sure that Business Central is flagged. And then there is an email button or an email option here. If I switch over to the email option, I can set up to receive notifications from Message Center. So you can set up your primary email address, which is the email address you're logged into as a Microsoft administrator, or you can add an additional email address, additional 2 email addresses here, okay? And from there, you can select what emails you want to get, okay? Send me major updates, data privacy emails, or a weekly digest of all the services that I have in my environment. And from here, you just scroll down the service list once again and choose the services that you use as a business and the services that you'll get a notification, you'll eventually get a notification for. I can also see all the notifications that will be emailed to me through the message center here. And you can actually filter out the services that you want to take a look at. So in this case, I'll filter down to my Business Central environment. And as you can see here, there is one service that's tagged with Business Central. And these are my Dynamics 365, Power Platform 22, Power Platform 2022 Wave 2 release notes. I can go ahead and select that and see the message and how it affects me in my environment. So starting in October, this is where Microsoft is going to be pushing all of its notifications in regards to your Business Central environments through the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. With that, that's where I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I want to see if there's any questions here.
Thank you, Gino. No questions have come through yet, but if anybody does have any questions, now is the time to get those in so Gino can get them addressed. While we're waiting, Gino, I can go through our announcements that I was going to share with the group.
Go ahead.
So we do have more of our upcoming events, and you can check out our website at innovia.com/events. We have webinars and training workshops, so you can visit those website pages for more information. We do have an upcoming workshop on September 22nd, and that is getting started with sales orders. So if you'd like to register for that, please go to the workshop page and register for that training workshop. And then we have our Innovia Conversation podcast. We have a library of podcast episodes for you to listen to, and you can browse the selection on our podcast page, and that's innovia.com/podcast. And don't forget to subscribe so you'll get notified when those new episodes air. And we will be at DynamicsCon Live in San Antonio, Texas next week. It's not too late to register. And you can visit our conference website page at innovia.com/conferences to read up on all the details and register and get that discount code as well. All right, Gino, I do not see any questions come through. If anybody has additional questions later, if something comes up, please feel free to contact Gino or your account manager here at Innovia Consulting, and we would be more than happy to further the discussion. All right, well, thank you, Gino, for your presentation, and for everybody on our webinar, or if you're watching on demand, thank you for taking the time out to join us.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time today.
All right, well, Thanks again, and we look forward to seeing you soon on another Innovia webinar. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.